Boost is a feature of the Arc browser which allows you to customize any website. Basically, you can add your own CSS or JavaScript to any website. And I use this in a couple of ways, but there are 3 creative things I do with Boost that I want to share with you in this video. So I have a couple of YouTube channels, but I have a problem where if I want to upload a video, I would go to the studio, I would go to the YouTube channel for which I want to upload a video for, let's say it's for the coding channel. And then when I upload the video, now when I want to watch regular YouTube videos, it's going to be on the last channel that I made active. And so everything I do here from my history, watch later, likes, subscribe is going to be on this particular channel. But then if I should come here and change to another YouTube channel, let's say the 3D printing one. Now when I go back to YouTube and refresh, it's going to be on the current active channel. So everything I do here, again, history, watch later, subscribes, everything is going to be on this channel. And now the problem I have is my history, watch later, subscribes, likes, all of these things are split across different channels, but I just want them on one channel. I just have these different channels for uploading videos, but I want all my history or profile to be built on one channel. So what I did was to add this with Arc Boost, where if I'm not on the default channel, I have this box showing here. So if I'm on this channel, it shows here. If I go back to my coding channel, it would also show here, not the default channel. But then when I go to my personal channel, which is the one that I want to make my default and I want all my history and everything to be built on, it's not going to show not default channel anymore. So this way I would remember to change to the default YouTube channel before I start watching videos or subscribing. Now, how did I do this? Well, Arc Boost. You can see here I have a boost. So yeah, I have this boost called YouTube Boost where I can add my own CSS and I can add my own JavaScript. Now I've added a couple of CSS stuff here for other things, but that's not the point of this example. This is the part where I added some JavaScript. Now here I have this function called add box. But before I call this function, first I would get the avatar image where I select from the document the attribute alt equals avatar image. And that is currently the alt for this. If I should inspect it, so if I should inspect this, you can see here we have alt equals avatar image here. So this is the element I'm trying to select. Now when I get this avatar image, I check the source here for the image. Now what I noticed is that the source for my default channel is constant. It doesn't change often. Obviously, if it changes, my boost will break. So I keep that URL here as the default image source, and then I can now check if the avatar image has the source as the default, then don't do anything, return from this function. Else, I call the add box function, which is going to add that box on the bottom right. Now I do this as a set interval. Actually, this should be a set timeout, not set interval. And the reason why I did this is sometimes the window might load, but then the avatar image doesn't show immediately. So after 1 second, then hopefully the image is ready. I can increase this to 3 seconds just to be sure. So now that I have this, we have the source as the default, so this will not work here. But then let's change back to the Deeecode channel. Yeah, so when we have this, 3 seconds later, we check for this, and then we see that if I should inspect this, yeah, we see that the image URL here is different from what we have as the default, and so the box shows. Now the box is not really obvious enough, so I can actually change the CSS here from 40 pixels to, let's say, 250 pixels. Yeah, this is big and obvious, and obviously when I have it like this, I am not going to forget to change to my default channel. Now this boost that I've added is just for youtube.com. So if I go back to studio.youtube.com, I'm not going to have that default channel box. It's just when I go to YouTube. And now when I go back to my default channel, which is this, then it's not going to show even after 3 seconds. Another thing I do with Arc Boost is for editing church videos. So currently in my church, I edit our church videos. Usually I have to add Bible scriptures, but I made things a lot easier for myself. Let me show what I mean. I actually have a full video on this where I went into more detail, but I have a problem on my code editor where whenever I paste text, it doesn't wrap the text for me the way I want it. It just pastes everything on one line. So if I have something like this and I copy, it's going to put everything on one line. Let's say I change the font here to 10. This is what my video editor will do, to paste everything on one line without wrapping it accordingly, without breaking it at the right points. But I created an arc boost that does that for me. And if I should show you the boost here, I do a bunch of things in this JavaScript here. But basically I have this function split into lines by words. So it takes the whole text, I have maximum characters per line, and it's able to break it accordingly and wrap it perfectly. But this is not the only thing I did. I also made things much easier for myself, where instead of having to drag my cursor before I copy, I can actually just click it and it will copy that particular verse. And if I press the right arrow, it will select the next verse and also copy it. We go here, it also copies. Now, watch what happens when I paste this here. Look, when I paste this here, it takes the book, it takes the chapter, the verse, the translation, and it wraps it just the way I want it to be in my video editor. Now, if I was to copy this directly, I'll just copy that and paste it here. You can see the difference. Everything is on one line and it just breaks into multiple lines because of the font size. So if I should make the font 5, you can see that everything actually goes on one line. I do a couple of things. Basically, I'm just passing the DOM and extracting class names and all those bunch of things. Then the third way I use Arc Boost is on Perplexity. So I use Perplexity for my own AI questions. But when you ask a question on Perplexity, it usually has this related section where it tries to give you some follow-up questions. But I don't like it. Why don't I even like it? I think it just takes space. I don't know, I just don't like it. And I think even a couple of months ago, Perplexity had an announcement that they want to introduce some form of advertisement in those follow-up questions. So I guess I'm doing the right thing by hiding it. But let me show you what I mean. Let's say I ask this, what does Deeecode do on YouTube? So it gives some answers. Oh, wow, Deeecode seems to do a lot. It gives some answers, and then usually we have a related section here, but that is not showing because I'm currently hiding that with my boosts. But let me change that. So here I'm just using CSS. If I keep this as block, exactly, we have this related section where it shows you follow-up questions. So what I just did was to inspect this. Now, all of these things that I'm doing, you can see how fragile it is. Once the CSS changes, then my boost doesn't function properly. But until then, I've had this for like 6 months now, and it's been fine. So hopefully this does not give Perplexity some ideas to change this. I found this here, and so I had animate in here. Obviously this is not a specific class, it's a very generic class. And what I had when I did it like this before was that it was affecting multiple elements. Like I couldn't even delete a thread because the class applied to multiple elements. For example, if I should change this back to none, the related section does not show. Now when I try to delete, I do not see the delete modal because this is none. So that was why I had to also add the BG translate transparent. That was why I added it here, BG transparent. So any element that has these two classes will be display of none. And for now, I've observed that that only applies to the related section and not something else. Probably it applies to something else on the screen and it's not showing, but if I don't need that thing, then it's fine. So now that I put it like this, it's not going to affect the delete modal anymore, just the related section. Now I use this in many other ways to hide, for example, ad containers on certain websites. Now this is, like I said, fragile because some websites might have ad container as the class, and some other websites, they might just have flex item center justify between on the ad container, and it's so hard to target those specific ad containers. And also some websites, they change these classes very often. They're like dynamic classes, so it is very difficult to rely on that with Arc Boost. But at least for these 3 major use cases I have, it has been working fine in the last couple of months. And yeah, I hope this video also shows you what you can do with Arc Boost. I know the Arc browser is currently not being managed properly. I think they're not making updates anymore. It's kind of like on maintenance or life support mode. That's unfortunate, but I still enjoy this feature and I still use it wherever I can. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like, subscribe, and share with others.